So today we're going to explore what AI governance really means beyond compliance, whether governance slows innovation or enables it, how organizations are balancing speed with safety, and what all this means for CISOs and for all of us as employees in an AI driven enterprise. Because this month isn't just about adopting AI terms or tools, it's about adopting them responsibly, intelligently, and sustainably. Let's dive in, Pradeep and Prabh. The stage is all yours.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thank
Thank you,
you.
Chandrika.
Thank you, Chandrika.
Uh, the introduction gave me a little bit panic, so yeah, a bit nervous. I need to maintain that quality, and thank you, Pradeep, for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Paramount. Yeah, but I thought we can have a short intro. I thought because that gave me a little bit kind of a stress that okay, I need to meet the expectation, but I will try my best to give a great value to the participants.
Your style, your style. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's going to be a great session, Prab. So, thank you for accepting our request as well.
It will be honor
So
for me,
the
sir.
so the first instinct for me is to ask Naatilevidaya. So, but I would stop that. I asked Raj and Chandrika whether we could do this podcast in Malayalam, but they wouldn't agree. So I
Sir,
will
I
go
don't know
with
Malayalam much, so my Malayalam
yeah,
and
yeah,
Tamil is a combination. So I don't want. I want more sessions with Paramount.
yeah. Yeah, just kidding on that. We have so many nationalities with us, so I'm sure that English is our common language.
Yep.
The first questions, probably in order to spread out in terms of our discussion. Um, we have had a lot of governance, right? Like we have data governance, IT governance, cybersecurity governance, and now we call AI governance. Of course, that makes our bread and butter in some way. But in terms of, is it just we are, is it just existing committees add AI to their charter to stay relevant to the requirements, or what is AI governance from your perspective?
And it's an amazing question to be frank, and it's a good to start with the foundation. I just want to confirm one important thing is that hope this podcast is more interactive podcast, or I believe the participants also have a chat box to share their viewpoint also, right? Or it will be the between you and me?
I think there will be questions in the chat box
Okay,
as well, right,
sure,
Yeah.
Chandrika?
sure.
I'll
So
I'll moderate that
we
for
will
that.
involve the participants also. Okay. So
Sure.
Pradeep sir, you have started with one point is Natle Evide, what the Malayalam. Okay.
Mhm.
Now then you said one statement, Prab, we have a people from different nationality. Okay, because here you started with the most important thing is governance. If there is no governance language, or if there's no governance communication, we might did the session on Malayalam, Tamil. There is no one going to control that, right? Because in Paramount, or might have a podcast policies, or you have a session policy, you said, guys, we have to do podcast in English. That's the first foundation of the governance. Similar happen in AI. AI governance is a set of operations by which we control the AI in such a way to manage the business or align the AI with the business. That what we talk about as a basic definition. But I want to go a bit in deeper in this section, and I want to talk about the practical insight. We are using ChatGPT in our phone, right? I'm sure you also using ChatGPT. Chandrika also using ChatGPT. I think participants also using ChatGPT. Now, after installing a ChatGPT, we become a scholar.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need to go to doctor. We don't need to go to any therapist. We don't need to go to any mentor. Enter the prompt in ChatGPT. Act like a physiotherapist. I have a back pain. Give me the output. Can you please scan
Yeah.
this cancer reports and do let me know what is a actionable item I have to take to treat this cancer?
Yeah.
So here what happen is the people don't get this awareness when to use AI, how to use AI, until what level we have to use AI. And this is was the example of bad governance. So here what happened is we are starting a AI governance from the house itself. Hey guys, we don't need to upload our pictures in ChatGPT. We should not use ChatGPT for health report. This is what AI governance. So AI governance is basically about strategies, about the policies, about the controls how you manage the AI. Now, if you remember, Pradeep sir, when we're talking about IT governance, remember? Now, I will tell you why AI governance is very, very important. When we had a IT was a stable one. We enter some value, we get a predefined output. We have end-to-end control of the computation, RAM, CPU, OS, output, everything. And you know very well, the computer or IT system will not do hallucination. We have a strategy, and as per the strategy, IT will deliver the value. Same with database also. Whatever the data we feed, we know what we feed, we control that. It will not hallucinate. Same with application also. But with AI, there's a problem. We are not sure about when the AI going to be hallucinate or where AI is going to give me the right output. And today, AI actually playing an important role in decision making. So that is why I believe the way we have a control infosec governance, IT governance, we need more and more control on AI governance because that helping us to take a decision. And that is where the perspective of AI governance is completely different from other governance. And I always believe there should be a clear segregation we need between the AI governance and other governance, which can be IT, corporate, and all that. So more of the story is that AI governance is all about set of operations, control the AI in such a way that introducing a right strategy, control, risk management, so that we can able to manage our AI to align with the business.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks, Prab. That sets the tone. In terms of adding to this, Prab, there is some sort of criticism also to AI governance, right? In terms of AI, always governance always comes with this because it stifles innovation. It's basically a checkbox compliance and gives you a false sense. And also that sometimes AI is unique. Like what you mentioned, like hallucination. In terms of its emergent behavior, governance is always pre-deployment specification, right? It should govern in such a way, it should act in such a way. But AI's nature to change even after deployment from what you are expecting, as well as there is no measurement for fairness as well when you say it has to be fair. So it's a very subjective fairness measurement. So in a state, minorities' view of fairness is different from a majority's way of fairness. Religious way of fairness is different from a secular way of fairness. So these all things, the critique against AI governance is that it's being too rigid and we have to manage something which is emergent in behavior. And this is checkbox compliance, which is sometimes not manageable. So what is your perspective, Prab, on this?
Before I talk about the critics and all that, I want to be very fair here. I do understand the criticism always comes or critics is always fair with AI. But one thing is that AI governance is not about 40 tab spreadsheet which people have created. And I think Pradeep sir, you also agree on this part. If you open today LinkedIn, okay, there's a lot of influencers. Okay, I will take my name also. Going to use
No, and
document
yeah.
template,
And
upload
add to
on
that,
LinkedIn.
they say there is inflation of thought leaders after ChatGPT,
Exactly,
so
exactly. So
go ahead.
we have seen a lot of perspective about AI governance that it's another spreadsheet that we create. We have an inventory, we have a risk metrics, we talk about the controls, we talk about the KPI, we create a fancy metrics. But I can bet on this. The people who created those metrics, they were also generated those reports from the AI. And that created a persona in the market that this is how the AI works. The problem is the people are copy pasting the traditional GRC mindset in the AI governance also. But we need to
Yeah.
understand one, like example in GRC, what we used to have, traditional GRC we talk about. We have a well understood vendor risk. If what, let's say example, tomorrow Paramount is onboarding one vendor, firewall vendor. They know if firewall is basically down, we have another vendor who will provide me the solution. This is one of the major primary risk assessment we do for TPRM. Now, second with data security, data got disclosed, we have a impact, we have a controls and everything. So traditional GRC was more static in nature. But when it's come to the AI based GRC, the concept is completely different. You cannot predict that how the model is going to hallucinate after a second. Right now, I enter one prompt, I want this set of information. Might be AI will assume something else and provide me a different output, but after a minute, it providing me right output. So it is difficult for me to predict whether it creating a same kind of output. So what we need here is AI governance should not be a road blocker. Okay. We as a AI governance specialist should not be a road blocker. We should be a road enabler for the business. We are not saying, okay, we will follow the FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay, 7 companies adopting AI, let me adopt AI. No, we don't need to do that. Okay, here we need to understand is we need to see when to run the AI in a most stable manner, how to run AI in a stable manner. So in my case, I went for a 3 important metrics, and I'm sure you agree on this part. The first thing I have to look for is the decision. The company taking a decision is basically making faster or stable. There's a difference between faster and stable. Faster is basically mean without reviewing anything, without validating anything, simply adopting AI. For a short run, it give good revenue. But long run, you will say, sorry, I don't want to take the name of the customer. Might be one of your customer will be that also. You heard about recent issue happen in Australia. There's a recent issue happen in India also. There was a one of the company, consulting company, where, they have used the AI tool to generate the reports.
Uh,
Okay. And they've enforced a penalty on that. Is it clear?
yeah,
Right now, the Claude, we can take an example because this news is there out. We heard about, the Claude was introduced one Mythos or whatever the tool, which is given
yeah,
access to some of the enterprise. Just yesterday only, we got to know that tool was hacked by one of the insider. So rapid adoptions of the companies and going for this faster way can sometimes backfire also. So we need to understand one thing here is that when to use and how to use AI. So instead of going for the fast adoption, instead of going for speed of decision, we look for the stable decisions. That's the first important thing. Second, I will go to look like is work in a proportion to the risk. The traditional GRC has a static risk, but modern AI has a dynamic risk. And we need to also understand AI maturity in every companies is different. Okay, so let's say example, we have a 5 level of maturity. The first level of maturity is people have a AI, but they don't know how to use. Second is basically they have AI, they have a procedure, but they don't know how to manipulate, how to fine tune the things. So most of the companies are in the level 2, but we have a level 3, level 4, level 5 also. So risk proportionation, when we're talking about AI, GRC and all that is completely different. So we cannot take a traditional risk management approach in the modern AI GRC. Third important thing is that which is governance is introduced to enable the business, not to reduce the business. So we have to see at what angle we need to add governance, AI governance. So let's say example, I will give a perfect example of that is content generation company, or in your organization, there's a content team we have. So that generating a content. Okay. So the level of risk, the content generation will have a low. Instead of if you have a sales team, they're using an AI tool for the invoice. So you tell me which one have a very sensitive information, the sales team. But what happening from traditional risk point of view, both are high risk. But in
correct.
AI case, we need to see this both approach differently. So if you look for these metrics, I think it's a well-balanced approach to handle the critics and come with the right approach. So checkbox version of AI governance does not, you can say, stifle the innovation. It is all about how you're creating a checklist and align with the business requirement. This is my recommendation.
Got it. Thanks, Prab. Yeah. Uh, since you touched upon that, the organization swimming FOMO about it, so one of the recent, some studies with McKinsey, BCG, and all, what I learned was most of this excitement is created by the top management. Top
True.
management are more excited than the middle management or the, lower ranks in terms of the excitement because they see there's quite a lot of excitement outside. They speak to their peers, they read a lot of reviews, etc. So they get excited and wants to use it.
Agree.
So so they say that most of the excitement is more at the top level, and it is because it's not the challenge is in the organization is that the middle layer is not that much excited because it has not been embedded into the workflows. So most of the time it remains as chat boxes or immediate things rather than making the work efficient or making the work better, etc. So it has not been in the workflow. And most of the, as you might have already seen some of those reports, which says that 60 to 70% still is in pilot, and on the production grade, there are very few which goes into
Mhm.
the production grade part of it, right?
That's why,
So,
so Pradeep sir, if you take example of here also today, Pradeep sir having a position of chief AI officer. You tell me frankly, because you are the person who get into end-to-end AI. Today, when you're using ChatGPT with your intelligence, do you get the same kind of output? Do you get the same kind of a thought process? If you tell today ChatGPT, I want to implement 4201, they're giving you very wrong steps.
mm,
Okay.
yeah,
And as you said about this BCG reports and McKinsey report, this was happened with one of my recent customer. This CEO went to Davos, which is basically a annual economic conference. There they heard about AI. He came back to the office and he said, "Okay, guys, let's adopt AI." No idea when, how, what is the level of control? Nothing. Adopt AI.
yeah,
This is where the governance matter.
yeah. Exactly. So my thought, what I wanted to get your thoughts on, Prab, is that so the organization mostly are implementing, as you mentioned, through competitive fear of competition,
Hmm.
and in areas where there is no clear measurable business value. So
Hmm.
many organizations have created various toys, and because it can create, I tell people that I can even create a password generation, software through AI.
Hmm.
But is that the
Vibe coding.
effective way of using AI? And is it the way you want to burn your tokens? And then is that a
Hmm.
measurable business value there? So I see there is a panic without a strategy, panic spending without a strategy.
Hmm.
And so, how does this uncontrolled look like? There a shadow AI, and also there is a pressure sometimes. Some of the units within the organization goes and buys some software. They want to give someone, give us the keys to the APIs to this particular application, that particular application, or fine tune some of the corporate data that we have to give out to. So, where do you see that? Is this the real trend with ears on the ground, or what is it that
So
you
you
see?
talk, you mean to say that you're talking about here the adoption part, or you talking about more on the, you can say, the reckless thresholds and all that? Because I want
Yeah,
to understand your viewpoint.
reckless threshold of and adoption. Yeah,
Okay,
reckless threshold resulting in adoption, which is not creating business value, right?
I will first talk about the adoption pattern, and I
Sorry.
categorize. Yeah.
Pradeep, your video is stuck. Do you want to turn it off and turn it on? It's
Oh,
been
is
stuck.
it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Sorry, Prab, go on.
Yeah. So one thing is that, when you're talking about I always consider, Pradeep sir, four main bucket. Okay, where I can see AI adoption, and correct me if I'm wrong. The first adoption of AI in the enterprise is improving the productivity. We are using to improve the productivity. Let's say example, we are using Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude for content generation, document template, document generations, and all that. That's basically the first use case where you can see AI adoptions pattern went very fast. And most organizations don't have a discipline to define what to control and what not to control. That is the biggest concern we have seen in the AI governance. Second, what we have seen is that client automation, client chatbots and all that. I recently heard about, people are introducing the voice-based AIs and all that for our calls and everything. But here, what is the important concern is reputation risk. Okay. And this was happened. I don't want to take the name of one of the food beverage retail chain in 2023. They have a collaboration with one of the biggest company for the automation of ordering system. So the guy was ordering the vegetarian burger. He got a non-vegetarian burger. In India, it
Yeah.
become a big thing. Same in Middle East also. If you have a some different kind of burger, and some guy asks for some burger and he got different burger. So second is customer facing side, and that is basically impacting reputation. Third is what you said, vibe coding. And I'm sure you heard about just 2 days back, Versal and Lovable app.
Yeah.
The one which basically making a non-developer a developer, they itself got hacked. And that's a live
Yeah.
example of faster adoption of AI.
Yeah.
What you did, you just push the accelerator, eh, launch the product, vibe coding. But just imagine the company who building the platform for you vibe coding, they got hacked.
Yeah.
And the fourth, so third is code generation, where you can see the AI adoption. And the biggest concern in the code generation is there is no governance for SDLC, because we are not following a traditional SDLC in that. So we don't know how to do code review. We don't know what is the backend. We don't know how the AI security controls around from a design stage. And the fourth is basically the backside automations of the critical projects where the API integration is there. So this is something what we have seen. Now, when we're talking about from the competitor point of view, that okay, where I see a threshold. Okay, now let's take example. The company told me that adopt AI. Okay, now when to adopt AI? What is the threshold? I have to categorize that. I need to finalize here. Okay, so when we're talking about the faster way to categorize that is the first is that if your AI unable to explain me the decision behind them, that's a concern. That's a red flag for me. So let's say example, okay, adopt AI, AI, AI. Okay, hold on, buddy. Tell me one thing, the AI that we are introducing, let's say example, there is a spam-based AI tool we are introducing. Can you tell me how it's going to block? Can you tell me how it works? If you're unable to explain that, that is the first threshold. I don't want to go beyond that. First, work on the basics. Second is basically you're introducing AI. There's no human intervention in that. It's completely autonomous from AI. That's a second threshold. That is basically concern for me. So you should not go so fast. There is no checkpoint. There is no pointers we have to block. The third important part is you introducing the models. Okay, without testing. Okay, Prab, we did the model testing, we did the fair testing. Okay, have you done prompt injection? Have you done the adversarial input validations? Have you checked the model inversion test? Model inversion is one of the biggest concern we have. And my simple is that if your AI pass three team, privacy team, IT team, security team, and the most important ethics team, your AI tool is best. If any of the one team said no, then it is a concern. So for me, this is what a benchmark I always follow keep it simple principle. If your AI product pass through all these four metrics, you're happy to align your AI with your speedy business. If any of the department raise a concern, then it is a red flag.
Got it. Yeah. So since we are on that topic, I was just thinking in terms of when, like, let's say a competitor, ships a product which is hallucinating, right? In terms of, and you know, is that reckless or acceptable risk? So we had the chat GPT which hallucinates, still people used it. We have
Yes,
still certain hallucinating earlier versions of them, hallucinating much higher. But they took it as an acceptable risk, right? In terms of that.
depend
So
on risk
where
tolerance
is
of the organization. Yeah.
yeah, so where do you really draw the line between that reputational risk and security risk? Yeah.
Excellent. And it is one of the my favorite question. I always have this concern. So my point here is that first of all, Pradeep sir, we need to understand the company risk tolerance. Now, what is risk tolerance? Risk tolerance basically mean the level of risk organization willing to accept and pursue for the mission and vision. Prab, this is the very theory. Let me give you an example. I join as a AI officer because see, AI officer and CISO both are different. CISO and AI officer has to work together as a governance committee. They should be part of a AI governance committee. They should strategically work together to create a secure and safe AI solution. Now, I join a company which is into healthcare. Now, they are using AI for token generation. Token generation means patient come, he speak, AI
Okay.
generated token. Okay. So in that
Okay.
case, my risk tolerance can be high. I'm okay to increase the tolerance because we have a second level of check where we can verify. So when we say risk tolerance high, it means the company take more and more risk. But when I say risk tolerance is low, it means company take less risk and they put more and more control and human intervention is there. Now, when I say I'm using for token generations where you speak, you get a token, for me, the risk tolerance should be high. I'm okay to increase the token. On the other side, when we are using AI for a diagnostic, Okay, my risk tolerance is always low. Here, it doesn't matter whether it's an infosec and AI risk. It's an overall risk. Now, here you need to understand, Pradeep sir, I'm using a AI model, okay, in which the medical team entering the patient reports. Even you have did the differential privacy, you have not adding the noise, you hiding the PI information, you done that. You need to understand the model that we are using in your AI system is your asset. And sorry to say that it is not even an asset, it is a trade secret. Now you need to ask yourself, what if tomorrow model is taken by one of your data scientists? Because modern threat is a data scientist.
Yeah.
Because if your model is gone, your data is gone, your product is gone. Come on, because it's your brain. So the one infosec risk I can see is data leakage,
Okay.
model leakage, model formula leakage. Second, shadow AI. Okay, shadow AI in the non-production environment can be a low risk for me. But if I'm using if I'm giving a chat GPT or I'm giving a co-pilot to doctors in their mobile devices, which is a personal device, a shadow AI for me. So that is basically more risk because we have heard recently doctors also using a chat GPT to read the reports. Can you imagine? And it was, I'm not talking
No,
from
we
my own
cannot
file.
discriminate against them. They should also be able to
Exactly.
use it, right? Yeah, it's a
Exactly.
democratization. So yeah.
But Pradeep sir, here we need a governance here. We need to understand the level of risk. What kind of a data they can use. No one told them how to use, when to use. That's where the governance is missing. Third is basically supply chain, as we said. Supply chain risk is also there. You took the model from third party without verifying, validating, because by the end of the day, you are integrating in your AI tool. If your AI basically responds giving wrong, you're accountable. And the fourth is called prompt injection model manipulations, which can basically deal with the lot of disclosure sensitive information. So when I see the risk, I cannot say okay, it's an infosec risk or it's a AI risk. It's an overall AI risk because IT is supporting your AI. If you see the hierarchy is what? Business, then AI, supported by the IT and infosec. So these are small triggers which can lead to the particular outcome.
Okay. The IT, the CIOs will have a different view, but
Huh?
CIOs and CISOs will want to have a different view of that
Yeah. So yeah, I
hierarchy.
will, yeah. So I will
Yeah,
tell you one more important thing here.
yeah.
There is a persona, or sorry, there's a perception we have created is CISO is accountable for the AI security. I have seen some people say like that, but in reality is different. So we take an example of Paramount. In Paramount, there is a HR department. Okay, they're
Yes.
using a AI tool for a hiring candidates and all that. They are accountable for the AI risk.
I hope
Data
Divya is
that
hearing it. Yeah. Go
da-
ahead. Yeah.
data you are feeding in the AI system. So there is a data administrator or data architect is accountable for that. Control around security on those AI system. Anything wrong, CISO is accountable for that. IT, which is running on the AI, if anything goes wrong, CIO is accountable for that. So we cannot say there's a one person is accountable for one thing. It's all about the RACI matrix that we create, which is missing in a lot of companies. And I'm sure you agree on this part.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because whenever there is my risk is getting diluted, I'm really happy about it, and I completely agree with it. So yeah. So yeah. So got it. In terms of what you are mentioning about it. And probably you answered one of another question that I had in mind also in terms of who is really responsible when AI goes wrong, right? Like if it's a biased hiring decision or a flawed financial decision or some data is leaked, is it the CISO? Is it the CDO? Is the AI ethics board?
Internally what I discuss about, but externally is the CEO of the company, because we never say in any news, okay, Pradeep Menon has clicked on this link or Pradeep Menon has trained the model, so he's accountable. When the news goes, the news will be Paramount is accountable for this AI based hiring.
Even that headline sounds scary, but yeah, I will let
Yeah,
it
you
pass.
have so
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
case of that Big Four news, have you heard about the name
yeah.
of project manager in the news? No, right?
Yeah,
It
no,
was
no, yeah, only
internally
the company. Yeah,
documented.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Agree. Yeah, the reputation is to the organization and probably the
Yes.
CEO as well. So
Yes.
yeah, so one another thing then when it comes to AI, is the CISO's job to build secure AI pipelines or to police unauthorized AI use? How
No,
do they, how do they manage both, in terms of, when you say that, see, multiple roles that CISO has to play. From a CISO perspective, how will it be?
that is why he's CISO, Chief Information Security Officer.
Yes.
Okay, he's a chief of entire information security, what is happening in the organization. Now,
Right.
so one thing is that, first of all, we have created this perception CISO is the one who implement ISO 27001. Wherever you see a vCISO profile, vCISO mean he should implement 27. No, CISO is the communicator. CISO is the translator who translating the information security risk to the business risk. He's so if you take example of three level strategic, tactical, operational. CISO comes on the tactical side who act like a subject matter expert to the CEO why security is important.
Correct.
And he act like a subject matter expert to the operation team why business is important. Now that is the one thing. So I'll give an example. I'm sure there is a lot of people come to your office, to your cabin, wearing vendors. I'm talking about wearing suit and all that. Sir, today we introduce one AI powered by SEC or security powered by AI. The way you're laughing, you will also laugh for a second. Acha, okay,
Yeah.
tell me. I'm sure you have seen a lot of startup, no? AI tool, this security tool powered by AI. There is a one word they use, powered by AI. Okay. And if you see that in India, you add some any traditional Indian word, and then you can sell as a emotions. Okay, that's what we're doing in
Okay.
India also. Okay, so what happened here is CISO need to understand here. The first step is how this AI solution enabling my business with security. Okay, will it be a roadblocker? Again, I'm going back to statement. Will it be a roadblocker or will it be an enabler? Okay. So nowadays what happening is next generation firewall, EDR, they are now powered by the AI. They say that.
Correct.
Okay. But what is the level of fine tuning they had? How they're doing that? So here the CISO need to understand the strategy behind this. Okay. Now coming back to the requirement called what is the level of those solution we have to use in the enterprise, at what level we have to introduce and when to introduce, that also we need to understand. Now, answer to your question, Prab, will it be, when we're talking the pipelines, even we're talking about the model pipeline or we're talking CI/CD pipeline,
Yeah.
what his perspective? He need to understand what kind of a code is passed through that repository. Second is basically, is it went through all the checkpoints? Third, where we're going to use that model so that according to that, we can have a risk tolerance. And fourth, if we have a too many checkpoints, definitely it will slow down the process. Are we okay to accept few checkpoints, speed up the security, or are we okay to increase the checkpoint to manage security? So this is how the role of CISO come into the picture. Now, answer to your question is CISO is accountable. CISO accountable for the security around the AI system. There is a called as a AI system from outside. He's accountable. Okay, but he's an advisor within the AI solution. So when one is talking about outside, which is the infra part, he's definitely accountable because he's creating a topology, he's talking about architect and all that. But inside, if he does not have visibility, he cannot take the accountability. This is where the data governance come into the picture. Okay, AI officer come into the picture, system owner come into the picture. It is all about the kind of a control you're giving to CISO. If you're giving them that level of control and visibility, they can able to manage. That's not an issue.
So yeah, so I gather from you, Prab, that securing the AI pipeline as well as using AI within security solutions, both will be CISO's responsibility,
Definitely.
right? Yeah,
Definitely. That's why there's a
got
one
it. So
concept called as a safe AI and secure AI. Both are different.
yeah, yeah,
If you go for secure AI, you have to accept the biasness because what data you're feeding, you're encrypting data, you're adding a noise. But in that case, the AI model get hallucinated. Why? Because you're trying to protect more data on that. But if you're looking for a safe AI mean always provide the right output. So make sure you feed all type of data. But in that case, what happens when you feed all type of data? Okay, in that case, what happens is data can be exposed. But on the other side, it can provide the right output.
Prem
yeah,
has something to
yeah. I
say.
see. Prem has a question. Yeah.
Go on, Prem.
Prab, first of all, thank you very much for agreeing to join us for this session. Very
Thank you, sir.
interesting discussion that both of you have been having. I want to draw your attention quickly to some of the aspects that you had discussed, and you had mentioned along with Pradeep about hallucination.
Yep.
Now, let me tell you a personal viewpoint. I may be wrong, but this is my personal viewpoint. I started my career in selling in 1982. Since that time, my belief is that everything ultimately boils down to selling.
True.
And if you ask me today, when a sales guy is selling to you, in some form or the other, it is hallucination. And the fact is that if you talk to more than 90% of customers, whenever there is a problem with some purchase of this, the immediate blame is to the sales guy. Oh, this
Agree.
guy sold me this, he told me this, and all that. He never takes a step back and blames himself. He never says, hey, I was a fool, yaar. I got hallucinated. He doesn't say that. So why are we blaming AI models today? Yaar? Let them hallucinate. No, it is your decision whether to accept it or not.
Agree.
Right?
And sir, there there is a one I can say one thing in one vertical of sales where they literally like salespeople. You know what? And they believe they never hallucinate when they sell their life insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, they basically give you the benefit. They give you the benefit of if you died, what is the benefit family will get?
Correct. And
So
this is
so
why your risk appetite comes in what you were mentioning. You decide
exactly,
based on your risk appetite.
exactly. So we as a consultant, our role is to basically maintain those words and emotion of the sales team, because when they pitching any kind of a AI solutions. So because if you remember, sir, when we're talking about the service availability, we always say 99% uptime. It was not a service uptime, it was a hardware uptime. But this is how we hallucinate customer. Service uptime
Understood.
cannot be possible 100% or 99%. Same like in AI, if we're pitching someone hallucination, we're introducing new metrics called 82% data accuracy, 95% accuracy. But when you're coming with such kind of a statement, this is where the governance come into the picture. There is a one sales guy who say our AI is 100% protection. That's one of the best gimmick word he used. But on the other side, if the sales guy is selling that this AI, powered by AI security solution can able to solve your 72%, you're coming with the quantifiable metrics. Even you hallucinating, you're building a confidence. That is why when we talking about the quantitative value, it create a credibility instead of qualitative.
Understood.
Point. Yeah.
See, the
And this
other
is how we
thing
pitch.
is,
Yeah.
the other thing is about the topic itself that you all have chosen. A very interesting topic in the sense that, which should come first. I
Yeah.
think both must go hand in hand and go fast. See, without
Agree.
a chief minister, there is no point in having a governor. So your
Agree.
chief minister has got to come first, and he must
True.
start doing the administrative work. And when he does that, then you bring in all the governance model at the same time.
Agree.
Right? Because it's all again about your policy definition and putting in the controls and everything else. And
Agree.
that is why, if you see today, long before we had security as a discipline itself came up when after the network was established.
Agree. There
It
was no
was not
governance
even
term in IT.
alongside the network, right?
True.
Similarly, we moved into the cloud. At that time, cloud security was not even born. These on-prem legacy tool vendors and all were saying, now I'm going to move to the cloud. So it took some time, right? So the same thing will happen with AI also. The AI
Agree.
movement and adoption of AI will move very fast. And the AI security, AI governance will follow. So it is okay. I mean, let it happen
And
like
answer
that.
and sir, here do you notice there is a one pattern? You know, from 2000 to 2010, there was a trend of servers, routers, CCNA, and all that. From 2010 to 2020, the term were cloud, Bitcoin, blockchain, and all that. Okay, but do you notice something in this? Database, cloud, information security. Okay, they come with the predefined outcomes. We know what will be the outcome. But when it comes to AI, okay, AI itself is not stable for us. Today it is giving me a different output. Tomorrow is giving me different output. See, we install database, we know database store your persistent data. Router is doing a routing. Server is up for services. Whether it is up or down, that's the only thing. But when it comes to AI, we don't know. Tomorrow, the solution that we deploy for security, it become a vulnerability. And live example, we discuss about Claude. They did the strong PR. We are introducing a first best tool which can detect the 0-day bug and it will kill a lot of pen tester jobs. I'm sure you heard about the PR. Yesterday itself, the application got hacked by the insider.
Mm, mm.
So this is the first kind of a technology which you are not sure about what will be the output of that. And that is where the kind of a governance we need in the AI is required strong foundation compared to other.
See, my feeling is that you have to first of all accept that the output of an AI is only one input to you.
Agree.
You must get multiple inputs, maybe from multiple AI models, maybe from discussing with people who are very knowledgeable, maybe by discussing with your customer. So you get multiple inputs and then you take a decision
Agree.
of what to do. So then you
Agree.
won't blame anybody, no? Again, the
Agree.
problem is you look at the human being. We are always interested in blaming next person. First, you'll blame your boss, right? He's the easiest target to blame when something goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
So we should get out of that system. AI is one input. It tells you something, you decide now what to do with it.
True.
But the thing is
Yeah.
that AI, from a, let's say, understanding standpoint, it gives you some very, very good avenues to think about
True.
so
I
that
agree.
you will be able to definitely add greater value to your customer, whether your role is that of a salesperson, pre-sales person, post-sale person, it will
True.
definitely. But the actual doing, I really don't know. It's up to you guys to say whether it is really finding all the vulnerabilities, is it really finding all the correct risks.
Yeah.
Actually, if you see, that's why there is a one standard we have introduced is 4201. Okay. And if you realistically implement 4201, there is a clause they're talking about clause 7 and clause 8, which talk about this operational reports, logs, frequency of report. And sir, you will be surprised to know that very few companies are actually working on those best practices. We say model need to be tested in every 1 week, depending upon the sensitivity of business. There is no process in place. If you're using the AI for a critical process, you should train your model in a month. Let's say example. These kind of things are missing actually, and it is coming with the awareness. As you start adopting AI, you get to know, okay, I'm using AI. Okay, so there is a called as a three business we have: critical, non-critical, or operational. Okay, so for me, the AI, which is basically customer facing side, I will to give more attention to that. I have to do the proper monitoring of that. I have to make sure, do the proper assessment of the models and everything. But if I'm using a AI model for my internal operation, I'm okay to accept some risk because it is internal. These kind of activities are missing in the companies, which is basically I always promote in my podcast sessions and all that. If you start solving a model issue, you solve the entire AI. So that's a very important part. And it's also depending upon which kind of industry we have. So Prem sir, when you talk about any kind of a company, whether it's a pharmaceutical, aero, health, any company, we only have a three type of data: operation data, regulated data, and business data. So when it comes to data governance with AI, if you make it simple, you know what kind of a data you are training, you can make a right decision. Simple logic is more data you feed, you make a more reliable AI. Less data you feed, you have a less reliable AI. That's why when ChatGPT was introduced, it was introduced on trained of 2016 to 2019 data. As the AI has adopted, they start training on the recent data. But problem is that compromise the privacy. So it's up to you. What is the level of risk you want to accept? And how do you balance that? This is where the speed of innovation versus risk metrics comes. If Paramount is tomorrow okay to accept all type of AI adoptions, go for it. In that case, you have to compromise on data, you need to compromise on the monitoring, you need to compromise everything. But later stage, you also need to see how you see the consequences. And this is what happening. Vibe coding company, lovable and all that. Rapid adoption. What happened? Hacked. You are in the itself in the market. You have seen which company has 100% AI supported process. No one, because they went for the FOMO. So that was the point here is we should have one framework which give the clarity why we need AI, how are we going to use AI, and what is the level of control we need in AI. If you have answer of this, go ahead. No doubt in that. And this is the same thing we did in the info sector and also. We introduced some automation and learning management system, not for all the critical courses, but for the basic courses. But we do train on regular basis just to make sure it create output, a right output. So that's how we are doing in our case.
Understood. Thank you very much. Chandrika, I don't want to continue to hallucinate our guests. Give the
No, sir.
opportunity to
It is
others.
really
Prem,
honor for me, sir. If questions coming from Prem, sir.
Prem,
Yeah.
I have multiple requests from people asking whether performance management system we can use some hallucinations there.
We should say that we are willing to use a model that you have created. Let us see.
Yeah.
We do have some
Before
questions in
I
the
think,
chat.
yeah, just let me, before we open up the
Sure,
questions,
sure.
I just want to ask
Yeah.
one very important question to Prab, he being a tall leader in this area.
No,
In
sir.
terms of,
I'm just still
no,
learning.
yeah. So in terms of, certifications, many of our people, are looking at certifications. So there are multiple ones, like you have the AIGP, you have the RAI, or the ISACA has come up with the WAIA and all those things. So if you could contrast and, show, in light of what kind of these certifications, which are, compare and contrast all these, that will be very good input for the guys who are listening in as well.
Sir, I'm not a fan of certification, but people will say you have a 1720 certification. I do my certification because I myself is a product for the company because I do trainings and certification build the trust. But if you ask me one fellow advice, I will recommend them first start with the ISO 4201 because the 4201 give them a foundation of AI governance and AI. That's my recommendation. So AI governance is the first thing is 4201. That give you the context of entire governance, which include policy, controls, everything. Now, once you're done with that, now you need to understand what is your further goal. You want to go into core security. Then first learn AI security architecture from Microsoft, Amazon, what kind of an architecture we have, because we have to follow the same methodology what we had in the past. You know, to learn IT security, first we learn how the OS works. Same like to understand the AI security, you need to know how AI works. Okay, so there is a one book, I forget the name. It's a very good book for AI security architecture. I will share it on email. So I highly recommend that book for every learner, which give them a good foundation. And later, if you want to go for certification, then there is a certification from ISACA, which is called AAISM, which talk about AI security management. But if you're going in the audit side, again, the ISACA has a certification called AIA. But if you're looking from a governance angle, overall governance angle, after 4201, you don't want to go in core security, then you can plan your AIGP. But all these things, before that, first you do 4201 lead implementer or lead auditor, because that give them a context about how the AI governance works from a scratch. That's what we had.
And in terms of the certifications, complexity and coverage and all, what do you have to say, Prab?
So if you're
compare
talking about, yeah, if you take example of sequence wise, AIGP, so ISO 4201 is like a, you can say, uh, it give you the complete process of PDCA, plan, do, check, act. If you are into project, you want to implement AI governance, how you plan, do, check, and act, we have a PDCA. So now you build the one framework. Now you want to manage that framework. You want to manage the governance along with the business. Then we can go for AIGP. AIGP is basically talk about how you run the governance. How do you manage the governance? Now, in that governance, you're adding a security control. The way we have a ISM, information security management system, same like we need to have a AI security program. So you can add the security angle into that. That become a AISM. Now you build the entire thing. You don't want to go only by the 4201 audit. You want to know overall how we audit the system. I want to learn how to audit the system. What documents are required to conduct the audit? I'm not saying I want a certification audit, but I want to learn how to audit. Then we have a AIA. For a salespeople, I would recommend they should go for 4201 first, that build the credibility for them, because by that they can able to build the reputation. Okay, yes, we have a background of AI governance with the pre-sales background, and it is easy for them to clear. And then later on, if they want to go from a pre-sales perspective, then they can go for AIGP.
Chandrika, over to you for others' questions to be answered.
Pradeep. So Katie sir had a question. Please go ahead. You raised your hand, sir.
Hi, good evening, Pradeep. Good evening, Prabh. I have
Good
a,
evening.
Good evening, sir.
I'm actually not a techno savvy, so I have a couple of questions, Prabh. One is, what does a good AI governance framework, how we
Okay.
can define a good AI governance framework? And
Hmm.
second question is, how often we should review and audit AI?
Good question. So a very good question, and one of my favorite one. It's also one of my favorite questions. How can we say? So your question is like this way, KD, like, how can we say it is a good AI governance
Yeah.
process or it's a good AI governance? Okay. Again, we go back to the old. If your governance, AI governance controlling a people, process, technology, okay, that's the one fundamental. And I believe that is a very common one. Second, if your AI governance committee is formed from the multiple people where we have a collaboration is the most important part is in AI governance, KD. Okay, now when we're talking about collaboration here is legal, privacy, security, IT, and ethics. If these five people are agree on some initiative, that is a very good foundation of a good governance, KD. You can have a controls, you can have a practices, you can have a policy, but if these five pillars are not coming together, there is no point of having that things. And I will tell you why. Legal team talk about you have to comply for the regulation. That is why their involvement and their approvals are very important. Their collaboration is very important. Right data we are feeding data governance team, which come from IT and privacy, and the controls around that security. That is important. The base is basically the IT systems. So if these five people are coming together, so collaboration is the first factor. Second is you can say management approvals, management fundings. That's the second most important part. And third, the most important part is you are doing a level of testing, level of monitoring. What kind of frequent monitoring we have? Now that will answer your second question also. How frequent we need to do audit, right, Katie? That was the second question. It is completely depending upon the type of business process you're using AI. If you think it's a process which basically having a lot of high risk and all that, highly recommend you should audit that system in every 3 months, because your AI system is completely different from IT system. AI is change every day. So if you're waiting for a year, I don't recommend. So 3 months is the standard time for the critical projects which using AI. Non-critical can go up to 6 months also. And as a standard compliance, we already have a 1 year plan.
Thank you, Prabh. I have
Yeah.
one more thing. See, for for AI to control it, that regulations will be happening. Like in EU,
Yes,
there are
yes.
AI Act and things like that. But here in this part of the world, I don't know whether there is a regulation act is there. So, from our perspective, should we proactively move and create the governance and then wait for the regulations, or how
Very
we
good
should move?
point. Thank you so much, Katie, and glad you raised this concern. So normally, if you see companies, what they do, first step is business requirement, right, Katie? Agree? Business requirement. Based on
Absolutely.
the business requirement, we form a framework of list of controls. Okay. Third, but no, sorry. First, based on business requirement, the business requirement include the legal regulatory requirement. That basically give me clarity about the control framework. Then we form the control framework, and then based on the controls, we implement the governance in the organization. But my approach is different. KD, what I did in one of the startup is, let's say example, India. In India, we don't have a AI Act so far. EU AI Act is there. India does not have a AI Act. We have passed one AI guideline, but METI has not passed anything about the AI Act. Same with Australia or Middle East and all that. So what we did is, in my case, what I did, I have used a one framework. I first adopt one framework. I'm not even went for business requirement, KD. I went for a one framework. In framework, I documented 10 principles. What should be the 10 principles? 10 principle mean responsible AI 10 principles. Around that, I build the controls.
Okay.
Now what happen if tomorrow any new regulation come, I will do gap assessment. Okay. Does my existing framework cover those controls? If not, add those. Rest is already there. So this is how I basically build the governance. I repeat again, KD, if you really want to implement the AI governance, start with the responsible AI principles. So KD, as you said, if you're working on AI, what is the minimum expectation? Transparency, explainability, responsible AI, privacy. So you are using the same controls. So whatever the responsible AI principle we have, based on that we build the framework controls, and later on any regulation come, we do gap assessment. According to that, we update the control framework. That's it. This is I
Okay.
did for one other company. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabh. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Pradeep, your responsibility is increasing, Pradeep.
Yeah, Prem, we need to have a discussion.
Vaishal, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Thank you,
And I have
Chandrika.
created 2-3
Thank
documents
you,
around that,
Krishna.
KD. If time permit, I will share. I have built my own version of framework, which is a combination of 4201, EU AI Act, and the NIST. Okay. So I've given a
Please,
name to
if
that
you
one.
can
Okay.
share,
Definitely.
Prabh.
Yeah,
Thank
it'll
you.
be very good to
Definitely.
share that with us.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So
Vaishal, go
thanks,
ahead.
Prab. Actually, you answered my questions because EU Act is there, NIST is there, and even you can combine the ISO 42001 into one single framework, right?
Yep.
And then KD's question on can we use the same principles to audit, right? Because it
Yep.
covers all the elements. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, you are right. See,
Thank you.
right now what happening is some of the companies, what they're doing is they're following the OECD principle. OECD has their own AI governance principle. I'm not saying even you have to follow that. You need to ask yourself, what is the minimum expectation from AI? In AI governance, if I want to ask you guys one important thing, what is the most important principle in AI? Tell me. If you talk about any AI solution, what is the most important principle when it comes to AI? Transparency and explainability. If you're able to fix this issue, you get a visibility of entire AI. Right, KD? Right, VM? So here what happen is you don't need a fancy controls. You need a controls around AI responsible principles. If you know some of the principles, if you know these are the 7 principles, you need a controls around those principles. That's it. If Pradeep sir, if time permit, I want to discuss those principles. If time permit, it will take 5 minutes.
Please go ahead,
Okay.
Prabh. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I say a responsible AI, the first principle of responsible AI is maintain the privacy. It means if you enter anything in ChatGPT, it should provide me the output without revealing the name of the person. Or if PI information there, it should be masked, right, KD? Right, VM? That is the one principle I'm expecting from AI. Second is fairness. Fairness basically mean if in India, if I enter top CISOs trainer, it should say Prab. In Dubai also, it should say Prab. If it's not creating, it is not fair. Just like example I'm giving. Third, if you notice when you book Uber or when you book any cab aggregator services and all that, it give you information that the cab is delayed by 5 minutes. So that is called transparency. But why it's delayed? Because of flood, whatever, it's called explainability. So same in AI we're expecting. That's why DeepSeek, when they introduce, DeepSeek was the first who introduced, when you enter the prompt, DeepSeek will provide you the list of source, that this is the source from which I'm providing you the output. Now Perplexity, Gemini, all are providing a source. Okay. Fifth is basically called accountability. If AI doing a mistake, they should take accountability. Sixth is called as a autonomous. We need to know when to stop, when to use. You're riding a car, you're listening to some songs, suddenly someone remotely hack into your AI car and increase the speed. Now you don't have a control. So we need a control. So you need controls around these principles only. So ISO 4201, EU AI Act, okay, CRA, Cyber Resiliency Act, they have all these controls. You just need to figure out what is the minimum controls you need in AI. That's the first step. Second is whatever the business required, add top of it and make a complete framework. When organization want to adopt AI, how do we guide? Adopt AI for routine monotonous tasks. It's never be a monotonous task, as I can bet on this, because it is a routine task. And if company using the AI tool for a basic user, okay, then we need a AI usage policy. That is the one policy cover everything.
Chandrika, you
Thank
want
you
to
for
summarize some
answering.
of those questions, combine some of those
Yes.
questions and ask so that
Yeah.
we
Sure.
can.
So, Prab, we have a question. What makes these MNCs lay off employees by using AI as a reason? How can they even be confident on governance based on our discussion? What I understand is AI governance is still immature. Please comment.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? I apologize.
Sure. What makes these MNCs lay off employees by using
Hmm.
AI as a reason? How can we even be confident on their governance? Please comment.
See, um, in my case, what I have seen is, you heard about the recent news about some of the companies who have lay off some of the employees and later they regret, okay, that it was their wrong decisions and all that. I don't want to take the name of the company. Second thing is that, I'm not in the position to tell about this because I always see the positive aspects of the AI, to be frank. See, AI cannot replace the human. AI only replacing a standard task, email generation, content generation, all that. AI cannot replace the intelligence. Is it clear? So first of all, the question has been framed regarding, justification and all that. I don't see any kind of a justification here because role of AI governance, okay, with the layoff has no connection. We introduce the AI governance to control AI, not a human. We introduce the AI governance to control the productivity, not a human. If it's part of the layoff, they have to do that. So the biggest reason of using AI is productivity. In that, if they have to lay off, we can't control that. So,
Got it.
as a director and all that, or as a senior manager or manager, if I want to state this thing, I can only state depending upon the business. Okay, upskill your stuff on the new things which can improve your thought process. I always believe there's a two type of job in the market, and I always tell to every student, one is called as a mastery of product. But problem is that if the product is discontinued, your value is also gone. And I'm sure Pradeep sir agree on this part. Initially, trend was MCSC, CCNA, CCNA security, CCI. Okay, the product is gone, the value is gone. On
I'm
the
not
other
that
side,
old.
no, no, no.
No, no. Yes, pulling it.
So
Like, go
second,
ahead. Yeah.
second, second, second is basically skill of thought process, GRC, architect. You get paid for your thought process, which constantly change, and you just get paid for how you think. So AI is replacing those the first part. AI cannot replace the second part. So for me, the valid justification I can give is it's all about the productivity. If you upskill yourself in the new thought process, new problem statement you can address, it will be great.
Thank you, Prab. Deepak, I hope that answered your question. We'll take one more question from Aftab. Hi, Prab. Do you think the decision tree, prompt, metadata, etc., of an AI chatbot should be transparent to the end user? For example, I ask a question as a prompt and tell the chatbot to also share the metadata, decision tree, etc., that leads to the answer. Should the chatbot be disclosing it? Why or why not?
No, it should not, because again, it's all about, it's a very good, I really appreciate the chatbot if it's not generating the output. That, see, this is where we are controlling, right? This is what we're controlling. We can decide what is the level of output we need to generate. Is it clear? So it's not something, okay, tomorrow he will say, okay, chatbot, please provide me the password of Pradeep sir, or please provide the password of Chandrika. Is it clear? Okay, here we need to control what kind of, so if the person is entering specific stuff and all that, he should get a desired output. We can give him decision tree, we can give him justification. But if he asking something very sensitive stuff and all that, we should limit. So this is how we need to introduce a governance to control. It's
Where
not
do we
something, okay,
draw
we
the
should, there should
AI
be a,
transparency line? Follow up.
where do we draw AI transparency line then? Artha, that is what, transparency doesn't mean, okay, it's compromising a security. There's a difference
Yeah.
between the transparency and security. Okay, you're asking for the decision metadata and all that. Okay, if that is relevant to the trade secrets of some company,
Yeah.
if it's basically mapped with the sensitivity of the data, okay, then it's part of governance. Now, let's say example when you're booking a Uber app and all that, Uber is giving you justification. It is delayed because of traffic. It having some family issues and all that will not be disclosed there. They know what data they want to display as a part of transparency. This is where we need to balance between the privacy and transparency. This is what after you have to define during a design stage. Is it clear?
Yeah, and add to that, Aftab, is in terms of it's not always a decision tree model that you see in
Hmm.
these models. And, there is even the models when they show that what they are thinking is not actually what is happening. They're just a description to tell you what it is going through. So there is things like coconut and all,
Hmm.
continuous chain of thought and etc. So the models are extremely complex that, you will not be, and they have spent huge amount of money to develop these models. So why would they
Exactly.
open up and show it to you? As Prab said, model inversion and various model attack happens. if they show you all those things, it's very easy for you to replicate that model and steal it from them.
And I'll give you one funny example. Suppose we having a discussion with father. Papa said, be transparent, tell everything. But when you become transparent, it basically backfire. He's starting hitting you with the sticks and all that. So we need to understand where we need to be transparent and where we need to be, manner, right? So transparency doesn't mean you compromising someone's freedom.
Yes.
And that's where
I
the
think
prompt
that's-
injection come into the picture. Priyank, what he said. Yes. So that's when a prompt injection. Papa say, no, sometime, ki, don't tell, you can just treat me like your friend. That build that trust, right? Social engineering. And then when you start
That's a
sharing
prompt
everything, then he
injection.
become a daddy. Yeah. So it's
Good
all about
example,
how you,
Prab.
how you extracting information from a model.
And the auditors also does this, I think,
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Treat me like your friend. I'm here to help
Yeah.
you only.
Help,
Then
yeah,
he's the
yeah.
reason for his going job.
Yeah. Great.
Awesome.
So that is why I want to finish the session with one thing that, okay, whenever you're using AI, writing, it does not mean happen. Go look and verify. Whatever you enter, whatever the output you get, verify 2 times, 3 times. Because by end of the day, you are the one who accountable for those output if you're sharing to anywhere. That's my thing. Second is that AI cannot make you a wisdom thought leader. AI is a auditor for you. AI is just is assisting you with your task. AI cannot be used to generate a new thought for you. So you're just using AI to improve your work, not to generate something new.
Amazing.
Prab, before Chandrika, thank you. Let me also, thank you so much for your session. And it's been one of the finest sessions we had. I'm sure Chandrika and others agree with you. But it was nice speaking with you and having a conversation like this.
Thank you,
Chandrika, over
Pradeep.
to
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. That was an insightful discussion and honestly a necessary one with many of our CGC members actively interacting with our guest, Prabh. If there's one thing to take away, it's this: AI adoption is not just a technology decision, it is a leadership and responsibility decision. The real challenge and opportunity, please mute yourselves, folks. The real challenge and opportunity is finding that balance between innovation and trustworthiness. So, for an organization, especially during this month, the ADA month, it is a reminder that AI is not someone else's responsibility, whether you're in tech, business, operations, or support. How we use AI, question it, and govern it, it is a shared responsibility. And for CISOs and leaders, the role is evolving from being seen as a gatekeeper to becoming an enabler of safe innovation, like Prabh said. A big thank you, Prabh, for sharing such practical and grounded insights with us. A special thanks to Priyanka from InfoSec for her coordination and support with Prabh. Also, Raj from Employee Experience in L&D, who suggested the idea for the podcast with Prabh in the first place. And everyone listening, thank you for being part of this journey towards responsible AI adoption. Until next time, stay curious, stay responsible, and keep learning. Have an amazing evening ahead.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much, team,
Thank you.
and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Prabh.
Welcome, sir. And in the era of AI, two things are very important: opinion and fact. Opinion give a lot of depressions. Opinion basically make your life hell sometime. So don't go by the opinion. Believe in fact. It will ease off your life, So AI killing someone's job, it's someone's opinion. AI is improving a productivity. We will check the facts. So that I always want to finish sessions. Yeah.
Super. Thank
Believe
you,
in
Prabh.
fact, not on opinion. Yeah.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
that
everyone.
positive note. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Really
everyone.
thankful.
Thank you, Prabh.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Bye.
Prabh. Bye.